A scary thing is often being on a road, and a lot of times people do imagine that the scary thing is going to be a bear, a snake. These are things that it's somewhat more predictable than humans are. You know, you can encounter a grizzly bear, and there's a good chance that you're going to get out of it alive. When you're walking on the side of the road, you are often walking within inches of a massive, several-ton metal and glass that's going at 90 miles an hour. And when you have like a very narrow shoulder, it's very scary. And then all the more makes you appreciate when you hit a trail.
Yeah, okay, just got stung by a bee. Oh!
I got the idea of walking across the country when I was working at a small office up in Westchester, which is just north of New York City. One morning, actually, my boss was late and I got locked out of the building, essentially. So while I was waiting for my boss to come and bring the keys, I sort of like was sitting around and I'm like, well, sitting around, this is kind of pointless. I might as well just go for a walk. And next thing I knew, I ended up actually making it to the next town over. And I discovered all these things I'd never seen before, little houses and historical things. And I thought it was just so neat that I just went from one town to the other. What would happen if I just sort of kept on going? What if I just walked across the country? Well, I dubbed myself the Walking Fool pretty quickly because I didn't prepare very much for the walk. New Yorkers, we pride ourselves to being walkers, but we're not carrying 50 to 60 pounds on your back. And as you get to the more desolate areas, you start adding more and more water. The one advantage is that I did it twice. I attempted to walk across the country 2 times. I made it as far as South Dakota on the first walk, where I stopped. If you open up an atlas of the United States, I stopped pretty much at the crease, almost exactly at the crease. On my first walk, I discovered a rail trail by accident. I had never really even heard of a rail trail before. And so when I was in Wisconsin, the person there said, oh, if you're walking, well, you should go on to the Elroy-Sparta rail trail. And I'm like, oh, what the heck is that? I discovered this and it was like night and day. Quietness and the wonderful nature around you, the lack of cars, but also the wonderful minimal grade. You had tunnels that you're going through, and it's like, wow, it all of a sudden felt like a real adventure. When I hit Wisconsin, everyone's pretty nice out there. And so they like to exchange greetings with you when you're on the trail. It's like so heartwarming and everything, but when you want to sort of like crank out 20 miles in a day, it can be a little bit distracting when you have to sort of basically go, hi, hi, hi. One of the other things I discovered is that you pretty much can't walk through any state without getting stopped by the cops. So make sure to have ID with you all the time because usually they don't get the walk. Except for Nebraska. I encountered a cop in Nebraska and he did get it. I was kind of amazed. Even people who sort of get it, like he really got it. He's like, oh, I know why you're doing it, because you want to push yourself, you want to sort of experience things, meet people. Part of the fun is actually discovering some of the cool things that are out there you didn't even know existed. And one of the great things is an antiquated kind of service, general delivery, which means basically any town that has a post office, anybody can send a package to that post office, just mark it general delivery and your name, and it will sit there until you come and pick it up.
Hi, hopefully you have a general delivery package.
Sometimes I would, when I knew I had a long stretch without any rain or any cold weather, and I wanted to lighten my load, I actually put my stuff in a box and mailed it ahead of myself. It's like having a little mini store in a little tiny brown box waiting for you. One of the most common questions people ask you when you tell them what you've done is, how have you changed from this walk? And my first answer is, my calves have gotten bigger. But aside from the jokey answer, I think it builds on your character. People were actually very open and friendly, even if you had a different perspective. It helped me realize that people were connected in a much more simple way than we a lot of times think that we are. That we're not very different from each other. We all sort of want happiness. We all sort of want to, create something good for our families and for the people around us. You know that, but you don't really experience it until you sort of walk across the country and sort of really, look at the kindness of people that will help you out.